welcome to another night of serious conversations. This is Politics Tonight. I am Olajumoke Olatuji. The federal government of Nigeria has warned against any foreign interference in its internal affairs. Tonight to discuss the Southeast and the cost of living and protest in the region. And my guest is Dr. Ijeoma Arogo, is the zonal chairman, APC Southeast. Welcome to the program, everyone. Stay with us. I'll be right back. Staying with us, let's begin with some developments in the polity. The federal government of Nigeria is talking tough against any foreign interference in its internal affairs. Government gave this warning during a meeting with the international community in Abuja in the aftermath of the nationwide protest in Nigeria. Oya Thomas reports.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs says the fake news and misinformation circulating in the social media over the protest in Nigeria has made it necessary to address the diplomatic community. Both Ministers of Foreign Affairs and Information speak to the efforts and economic policies of President Enugu as they assure the diplomatic community of government's commitment to democracy and development.
A compressed natural gas initiative to power the transportation economy and bring costs down. This will save the country over 2 trillion naira a month, being used to import premium motor spirits.
We want members of the diplomatic community to understand that critical reform that the administration has embarked upon were likely to bring hardship. But this hardship was only temporary, and as with every good policy, it will take some time to mature.
They assured the diplomats that government investment in healthcare, transportation, housing and youth development will bring a new turn in Nigeria.
It is pertinent to remind us that no nation tolerates foreign interference in its domestic affairs and that of its citizens. Nigeria is not an exception. The government will take appropriate action against any foreign entity residing in Nigeria that is found to have directly or indirectly supported the protesters by whatever means.
Comments from the British High Commissioner and America's ambassador recognized and appreciated government's effort as some sought clarification on the fate of the 7 arrested Polish nationals and those on watch list.
It is not a targeted operation at Polish citizens, not at all.
The DSS pleaded with the international community to avoid allowing their countries to be used as a launchpad to cause instability in Nigeria. The Minister of Foreign Affairs says Nigeria will not encourage political opportunism from Nigeria against any country and therefore solicit the support of the diplomatic community against political opportunism. Oya Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.
Yes. Speaker of the House of Representatives has called for improved efforts to equip youths with practical skills that will enable them thrive in an evolving job market. Abbas Tajuddin barred his mind at a public hearing on 3 bills, one of which seeks to establish a National Polytechnic Commission. National Assembly correspondent Strekadisa reports.
Years after the establishment of the National Universities Commission, the House of Representatives is close to achieving a similar regulatory body for polytechnics. This public hearing brings together experts in the education sector for their input into 3 bills. One of them seeks the creation of a Polytechnic Commission for the purpose of regulation. The House believes when established, the Commission will uphold standards across the nation's polytechnics.
This Federal Vocational Entrepreneurship Institute, which we are proposing to be established in Lagos, will be a hub to train our men and women, our youth and alike, to ensure that the moment you have your skill and you train on your skill, you translate it into more commercial value.
Is to train technicians and middle-level personnel that would serve as catalysts for a rapid industrialization and development of the real sector of the economy.
Others are bills for the establishment of vocational and entrepreneurship centers, which the lawmakers say will spur development if signed into law. There is a popular suggestion that the disparity between polytechnics and universities should be cleared. They lent support to the bills, even as they made some imputes.
The Minister of Education and the Minister of State, and they have their mandate to say that all these three bills are very timely, important, and relevant to the situation we are facing today in Nigeria.
It prepares the youths for the future by imbibing creativity and alternate source for income. It develops networks and bridges for our youths. It enhances their academic credentials, and it is fun.
We have the polytechnics, we have the monotechnics, and we can also have the VTIs, so that they will concentrate not in doing diploma programs, but on vocational skills. There are areas that somebody mentioned it. If you have a certification in welding, the kind of money you earn today, even the PhD holder doesn't earn that one.
In the estimation of the Parliament and others at the public hearing, the proposed agency and institutions will serve as beacons of excellence, providing qualitative education that meets international standards while being tailored to local needs. Jokeyadsa, TVC News, Abuja.
Let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to discuss the Southeast and the cost of living and protest in the region. And my guest tonight is Dr. Ijeoma Arogo, is the zonal chairman, APC Southeast. Just stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. The Nigerian government has threatened to take appropriate action against any country or foreign interest that might be behind the ongoing #EndBadGovernance protest in Nigeria. Minister of Foreign Affairs Ambassador Yusuf Tuga gave this warning while addressing members of the diplomatic corps in Abuja on Wednesday. He said that Nigeria is a sovereign state and will not tolerate any interference in its domestic affairs by foreign elements giving support to the protesters. Tonight, we take another look at the multifaceted impact of violent protests, with particular focus on why Southeast residents shunned the #nationwide protest. And joining me for that conversation is Dr. Ijeoma Arogo, who is the zonal chairman, APC Southeast. Doctor, welcome to Politics Tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and it's always a pleasure to be here.
Right, so before we zero into the Southeast and why the region didn't protest, what is your general take on the protest? Do you think the protesters had a legitimate reason to protest? Do you think they achieved their goal? And I mean, did it change anything?
Well, I am not a supporter of the protest. The protest was highly ill-advised. Highly ill-advised. I see some political interferences. You know, people trying to lash in on ignorance of the youth to protest, to bring down the administration that is doing so well. So I am not in any way in support of the protest, and I think it is very ill-advised.
So did you think it's changed anything?
Stupid.
Doctor, can you hear me? Did that protest change anything?
Yes, I can hear you.
Right.
No, it didn't achieve anything. It was a total failure.
Right. You know, this protest has brought about some conversations begging for answers. The ripple effect of violent protest on our economy, on our sovereignty as a nation, on the unity as a people, you know, proportionality of response and accountability. I mean, we saw what happened in the North, such huge difference from what we saw in the Southeast. And it was surprising to many because the Southeast has always been part of national protest. So what changed this time? Was it because it was a leaderless protest, or because it was a needless one?
The truth is that the Southeast now have leadership under the leadership of Governor Hope Uzodinma, the governor of Imo State. who was able to convince the people that the protest is not to our advantage. There's clear leadership who the people believe in, who the people accepted his opinion that the protest will not do anything for us. We are more interested in dialogue. We want further engagement with the administration. And the Southeast listened to that call, and the decision of the Southeast not to join the protest, I can assure you, is one of the major reasons why the protest flopped.
But apart from having a leadership at this moment, we heard other stakeholders react to whether or not the protest should hold. And according to the National Vice President of the Igbo Socio-Cultural Organization, Ohaneze Ndibo, he said the Southeast shunned the protest because they usually bear the brunt of such exercise in Nigeria. One, is this a fact? And on the other hand, the new chairperson of the Southeast Traditional Rulers Council, and that's Emmanuel Keke, suggested that the Southeast shunned the protest that the people of the region had become tired of seeking freedom, relevance, and equal treatment in Nigeria. And according to the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, that's Ken Kaluben, the major reason given as to why the Southeast keeps the protest was, and I quote, avoid the risk of being scapegoated. What does that really mean, Doctor?
We've all known in the past that once there is protest in any part of the country, the Southeast are always targeted for attack by hoodlums, by the state operatives and all that. That was the suspicion. So we decided that it is not our place to protest. And what are we protesting for? We are satisfied with the administration. The leader of the zone, Governor Hope Uzodimma, was able to convince other leaders, including Ohaneze, that we do not need to be part of that protest. We need to interrogate issues better. We need to be able to engage the administration further for more inclusive in the administration and not by protest. And that was what played out.
I see. You know, it's a different task for a leader of a region, and that's, I mean, according to you, Hope Uzodimma, to convince his generation, and that's people like you. But I'm surprised, how was he able to convince the youth of the entire Southeast region to skip this protest? Because for a fact, that was a perfect example of unity, something we probably haven't seen in the Southwest for a very long time.
That is the idea of leadership, good leadership that the people believe in. The people believed in him, and he was able to convince the trade unions, he was able to convince the traditional rulers to talk to their people, to engage further with the government and not to be part of the administration. Yes, anybody canvassing the opinion that will bear the brunt is not wrong. And we are wiser now. And recently, some people, one character from the north was saying, why are Igbos not protesting? Why are Igbos quiet? Will you tell us when we feel pain and when we don't? We don't feel any pain. We believe in the administration. We believe that we need to give the administration time to deliver is good for the Nigerian people. And we are wiser for it. And we are happy that it went the way it did. We didn't record loss of lives, which are always the case in every protest in Nigeria. Thank you. So we are very grateful to the leadership.
Thank you very much for going there, because there are those who have said, I mean, that protest was about the state of the economy. Is the Southeast not affected by the rising cost of food items and other commodities?
I'll tell you that the rain is falling on every roof. We all go to the same market. But we understand it better. We believe that it is too hasty to start to blame the administration for everything that is going on in the country. Because we know that the problem that we are facing today didn't start today. We are not blaming any administration, but in our own opinion, which we explain to our people, bad leadership has existed from time of independence in 1960. In fact, from 1914, since amalgamation, there's been a lot of elements of bad leadership due to lack of patriotism. Our people do not believe in the country. So to blame Bola Ahmed Tinubu for everything that is going on in the country today is not fair. It is not at all. And we understand that clearly. I was in church last Sunday, and the reading in the Catholic Church is all the same reading all over the world. Was about Moses in the wilderness with the Israelites. Just within a short period, the people have risen up against Moses. And they say, why didn't you leave us as slaves in Egypt? Why have you brought us to this wilderness to die of hunger? Why? Because they were not patient enough to believe in the faith that God has brought them out for freedom. And that is what is going on today. Within 1 year of the administration, the people already are shouting, Bola Tinubu has done this, Bola Tinubu has done that. Without relating what is happening today with what is happening even when Nigeria said we have surplus, we can do Owambe, we can do Festac, we can waste our money. There was no plan for today. And the president now is telling the people the truth. This is where we really are. This is how our economy is. Let's face it for what it is for tomorrow's generation. And people are not patient enough and intelligent enough to interrogate the issues and see if he's making any point, or if we should continue living in that fool's paradise that we are a wealthy nation, that we can waste our resources, that we can subsidize petrol, that we can subsidize forex, borrow to subsidize forex, borrow to subsidize petroleum products. But now you see that with what this administration has brought on board, people are seeing the petroleum industry, refining, to be competitive. And a lot of refining is being planned that we remove pressure from our naira. And these are only possible because of the policies of the current administration. And we see it. We are business people, the Igbos. And we do not see why we will scatter a house that we should support to build. Is lack of patriotism. So our people have been able to listen to our governor, the governor of Imo State, who has told the people the truth. And they have been able to listen to our traditional rulers. And if you recall, just few days or weeks before the protest was declared, all the traditional rulers of the southern Nigeria met in Owerri, Imo State, to hear the truth, to hear the message, to take the message home and talk to the people. Because the major problem with the youth, like the former national anthem says, second stanza, the fourth line, teach the youth the truth to know. So most of the things people believe that we are going to do this, yes, the rain is falling on every roof. The price of commodities are the same everywhere in Nigeria. We are seeing the problem, but we know that price of commodities have a lot of causes. One of them being the insecurity over the years, where farmers are slaughtered in their farmland. We know it is true. So why don't we go and preach to our people to stop killing farmers in the forest, to stop killing farmers in their farmland, so that food will be produced? Patriotism also, we know that a lot of food items are smuggled out of Nigeria on daily basis through the borders. A friend of mine said that he was so surprised that a camel can carry 40 bags of rice to cross the border from Nigeria.
So, Doctor, if I get you clear.
So this is happening, and we know that is why we are starving.
Dr. Arogo,
yes,
if I get you clearly, what you're saying tonight is that it is hypocritical for anyone to criticize the first year of any 4-year tenure. Is that it?
Oh, yes. That is very right.
All right. You know,
that is very correct. It is too early to criticize this administration.
But do you think the issue is that Nigerians do not understand the complexities of what the president met on ground?
I agree with you, yes. They do not understand, because the people that should make them understand are very selfish. So they are telling them lies. They are only out to criticize the government all the way, all the turns, all the way. So they do not understand. If they understand and know where we are coming from, I am not blaming any administration, but people will be able to relate with what is doing today. And I am able to relate with it.
We'll come back to this, but let's stay on track. I mean, there was a statement by Dr. Joseph Ono, who is a former spokesman for President Bola Tinubu. He said, the Southeast is silent because we do not have the political luxuries, influence, entitlements, and benefits. The regions participating in the protest has the Southeast not had and continue to have its fair share in political inclusion?
Well, I agree to an extent that the Southeast deserve to have more. Yes, it is true. But then it is not by protesting that we get that to happen. It's by further engagement, by further negotiation. That is politics. And that is what our leader is doing today. Not by protest. If you protest, you I remember one of the presidential candidates, the presidential candidate of one of the political parties went to Aba just before the protest and told the people, come out and protest, destroy everything. And the governor of the state, Alex Oti, told the people, no, what you are coming out to destroy belongs to you. You can be patient, we'll get it better. I was so happy because he knows the truth. And the political influence or undertone of this protest, this failed protest, is very clear. Because part of what they are requesting is a regime change. How can you do that? That is not patriotism. I always talk about patriotism and the need for the youth to understand what will happen. Because I have studied the education system of Japan. The first years of education, they teach them, what do they teach them? Nationhood. They teach them patriotism. They teach them how to live well. The motto of one of our universities, learn to live. Learn to live. They teach them how to live. They teach them nationhood. They teach them how to dress, how to eat, and how to greet elders. And these are the changes we need to build.
Who do we blame for this lack of patriotism?
Well, the value system there has to be a re-engineering of the value system. We are not here for blame game, to blame anybody for what has gone wrong over the years. But over the years, I will tell you, the Nigerian people have not loved the country well enough.
All right. So let's go back on track. We'll come back to the Southeast, but let's look at how this protest, what is protest translated to in other parts of the region, especially the alarming outcome of the protest in the north. You know, the massive looting, destruction of private and public properties, and the unfortunate death of a teenager. Would you say government or representative of the federal government was justified when it's continued to plead that this protest be shelved and that representatives of these groups come forward to dialogue with government?
There's no better solution than dialogue. Whatever happened in any part of the country could be a form of conspiracy against the administration. We know. And it's not what we're advocating for. I believe that we can engage in more dialogue and we can achieve more through that. Thank you. I believe that the government agencies, the army, the police, were very professional in handling the issues. I also saw the video of one where the protesters snatched an APC, armored personnel carriers, and started driving around with it, where they chased policemen and chased army people. These men have gone. They could kill people. So these are the things we in the Southeast know better. We said, don't come out, don't protest. Whatever happened in the north should remain in the north. I am the chairman of the Southeast, and I am so happy and proud that my zone understands the dynamics, and my zone has shown good followership to our leader.
You know, the federal government has threatened to take appropriate action against any country or foreign interest that might be behind the ongoing protest in Nigeria. What do you make of this move?
Oh, yes, that's a very appropriate action. Because we are not ignorant. We saw what happened in Niger Republic. We saw what happened in Chad and in other West African countries. And we don't doubt the possibility of some foreign interests getting involved in what is happening in Nigeria. And we will front strongly against that. And we will react strongly against that. I am very proud of the audacious statement by our Minister of External Affairs. The government cannot just be coupled because we are scared of any country. It's a shame that in our country, some people are flying flags of other countries. Are they telling us that these countries are involved in the protest? If they are, then we have to take proactive measures to see that they don't go further. Because next we are seeing or we are suspecting is that they might be instigating the military to take over government. That is not where we want to be. We don't want to be where Kenya is today. It didn't help them at all. We don't want to be where Libya is when they started it. It didn't help them at all. We want to be a prosperous nation, guided by rule of law. And this is what this administration stands for.
Doctor, because of what we've seen in the last few days, and because of those who are very convinced that the protest we saw was an anti-Tinubu, was a protest to undermine or overthrow the government of President Bola Tinubu, I'd like you to speak to the dangers of ethnic politics and the consequences of it on the unity of this country, especially the struggle of our heroes that brought about this democracy we enjoy today.
Well, I personally didn't see any ethnicity in the demonstration. What I see is political undertone, and it is very unfortunate. It shows the level of desperation in some politicians. Because I didn't win presidency, the government should be pulled down. Because one of their requests is a regime change. Is that how it is done? Wait for 2027. But then I will tell every Nigerian that cares to hear, by 2027, everybody will be so much in love with Enugu and we say we never knew there is a Messiah like this sent by God to redeem Nigeria. Because the policies on ground that is implementing are the only options we have now. We are really down. If people are able or patient enough to interrogate where the Nigerian economic outlook, the macro and micro economy of the Nigerian nation, we know that without these policies being implemented today, by now we will not be able to pay the police. By now everything will be gone. In my place, they say Ogula is finished. So, we should be able to make the sacrifices that the president is making now. Like I will always say, I'm a medical doctor, and quinine is very bitter. But at a point in the history of the world, it was the only remedy for malaria. So if you have malaria, you will be nice enough to take the bitter quinine to cure yourself. So that is where we are. So please, we should just be patient and patriotic. Be patient with this administration. I believe we will be better for it. Thank you.
Talking about patience and patriotism, Doctor, the president had spoken to Nigerians twice this week. On Sunday during a live broadcast and yesterday on X, that's formerly known as Twitter, he continues to appeal for more time to fix this deep-rooted challenges we've been facing as a nation, and is asking for collaboration with citizens in rebuilding the nation. For you, how instructive are these messages from the president, and how far do you think these messages have gone in dousing tension?
Well, if people are honest, they will see that his speech to the nation are honest. President Tinubu has displayed one quality, and that is honesty. He wants you to see it for what it is. So when he talked about patience, he's telling you to, when he said, give me time, he means be patient. And when he said, walk with me, it means patriotism. Believe in your nation. Let us build it together. And that is where we are. And that is what it is.
So, Doctor, let me take you up on some of these issues, some of these challenges. I mean, just for your own perspective on them. First is food inflation, which many regard as the elephant in the room. And they say is the only metric that affects 99% of the Nigerian populace directly. You know, the president and his minister, that's Senator Abubakar Kyari, have outlined long-term measures at achieving a decline in this figure. But Nigerians say the achievement of the president becomes inconsequential if a tuber of yam does not go back to 1,500, if a bag of rice does not go back to the old prices, if a slate of tomatoes does not go back to what it was before. And there have been divergent views on whether or not price control or temporary suspension of import duties on selected food items into the country can fix this. Where do you stand?
There are a lot of solutions to the food crisis in Nigeria. Like I said earlier, the major issue is insecurity. Farmers cannot go to farm. And some people believe it is the best thing to do to keep Nigeria insecure, to put the government on its toe. That is very wrong. The food prices is the same everywhere. It's affecting everybody. But then the president cannot do perform magic in a whole country economy. He cannot perform the type of magic we see in those magicians at Ngwaro Daba, when they will wave white handkerchief and shout, Janta Manta, and the white handkerchief will turn to egg and somebody will pick it and eat. No. This has to be planned. The Minister of Agriculture is doing a lot for food security in Nigeria. In fact, every minister I have met with and have a conversation with in this administration are top on their game. Every minister. So we have to plant the crops. We have to assure the farmers that when they go, they won't be killed when they go to the farm. So the people that are demonstrating should use that effort to appeal to their people. Don't kill human beings when they go to farm. Let food be planted and harvested. That is the only way to stop food insecurity and food crisis. And then people should be patriotic. Patriotism, I say again, to stop smuggling food to neighboring African countries. It's happening, and we know it's happening. These are the problems. So people should tell themselves the truth. Look themselves in the mirror and say, I want to stop all the evil, all the vices that is punishing the Nigerian people. We don't heap the blames on the president, the president, the president. We, the Nigerian people, have to take responsibility to join the administration to build the Nigerian nation that we all pray and desire. Thank you.
Doctor, you just said the president cannot do it all, but we'll have to go on a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more on that. Please stay with us, everyone.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV Station of the Year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News.
Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us. And I've been speaking with Dr. Ijeoma Arogo, is the zonal chairman, APC South East. And tonight to discuss in the Southeast and the cost of living and protest in the region. Doctor, thank you so much for staying with us on the program. Before we went on that break, you said the president cannot do it all. But why does it look like in this part of the world we cut state governors some slack? Because at the moment, no governor has said he didn't receive truckloads of food from federal governments to share among the vulnerable people. And just recently, over 570 billion naira was released to the state governments for expansion of livelihood support to Nigerians. Why does it appear like there is only one tier of government in Nigeria?
Well, the Constitution of Nigeria has provided for 3 tiers of government: the federal government, the states, and the local government. And to that extent, the president has shared palliative through the state governors to the local governments, to the communities. He shared through the National Assembly, the senators, the House of Reps to their constituencies. And that is the food palliative. But that is not the ultimate solution. These measures are for people to be eating why the crops are grown, why the food is cultivated. But they are temporal measures, and the president has had that in mind, and he has been doing it. So, but you find out that in some states, the governors, like in opposition states, I can call their names, the governors keep those food and then repackage it to present to the people, maybe as campaign items.
The state government, the state governor has denied that accusation, Doctor.
Many state governors, not one, many state governors. A lot of our party leaders have complained about that. It's not a particular state governor, if you have anyone in mind. Many state governors have been accused of doing so. And you can't take that away. It's all part of the system.
But really,
so, the president is doing a lot. The president is doing a lot to put food on the table of everyone.
Right. I get that. But now that the conversation is about accountability, who should hold these governors accountable? Federal government or the people?
Well, it's a mix. The federal government, the governors are very powerful. They are very powerful. So if a governor decides to starve his people, there's so much little the president can do. Because he's distributed to all the governors, whether APC governor or PDP governors. They all receive the same amount, the same quantity. So it is their conscience between them and their God, how they treat the opportunity.
I mean, Doctor, I beg to disagree with you. I think this conversation has gone beyond the issue of conscience. But let me allow you to speak to interventionist measures by federal government through states, which never gets to citizens. And that's why I said this conversation has gone beyond conscience. I mean, just recently, like I said before, the federal government released some money to the 36 states to expand livelihood support to their citizens. But some Nigerians say the president should stop sending out money to these governors, which they cannot account for, but must put the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs to good use, or perhaps look for other strategies to reach the vulnerable Nigerians. How do you advise governments on this?
Well, the states and local governments cannot be taken out of the equation. It is difficult for the president to distribute these materials without going through the states and local governments. That is my own belief. Yes, I'm not just talking about conscience, but these things happen. And when they happen, we don't see how the president will summon this and this governor and say, where is the food that I gave to you to give to your people? So I don't think the president should be blamed for the channel of reaching out to the people. I know that the president too has been distributing a lot through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, through the Ministry of Trade and Investments.
Doctor, are you there? Dr. Arogo, are you there? Doctor, can you hear me? All right, so if you can hear me, let's talk about the Southeast Development Commission. Now that it has come to be, how commendable is this? How significant is this step? Especially because at one point, the national chairman of your party, Alhaji Abdullahi Ganduje, once said the region is living in isolation without making any progress. How hopeful are you that if properly managed, this commission will accelerate the socio-economic development of the region and lay the foundation for its infrastructural development?
In partnership with Wild Aid, will bring you a documentary series on environmental issues affecting Nigeria's amazing biodiversity, from climate change, air pollution, and wildlife conservation. We will be traveling across Nigeria to give you on-the-ground report of the issues affecting our environment. It airs every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
So I need students, but I need teachers.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything. If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all their demands. A familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Welcome back, everyone. I've been speaking with the Zonal Chairman, APC Southeast, and that's Dr. Ijeoma Arogo. Tonight, we're discussing Southeast and the cost of living and protests in the region. Doctor, thank you very much for staying with us. Now, let's shift attention to Southeast Development Commission. And I mean, like I said before we went on that break, now that it has come to be, how commendable is this? How significant is this step, especially because at one point, the national chairman of your party had said the region is living in isolation without making any progress. How hopeful are you that, if properly managed, this will accelerate the socio-economic development of the region?
Yeah, I was coming to that conversation. This is one of the things that the Southeasterners are very grateful. Indeed, we are very grateful to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I want to tell him thank you for signing that bill for the Southeast Development Commission. Ndi Igbo are very hopeful that that commission will bring in a lot of targeted development to the region. What we actually need is very little as a people, because we are very industrious people. What we are looking for is infrastructure, basic infrastructure. And we believe that the Southeast Development Commission is the right direction, a big opportunity for us to get the infrastructure that we so crave for. Thank you.
So talking about hope, I'm wondering how hopeful are you about proper accountability when it comes to funds allocated to the Commission? I mean, it's expected that the Commission will use the allotted funds from federal allocation to address infrastructural challenges of the region. The Commission will also tackle the ecological problems and any other related environmental or developmental shortfalls in the Southeast region. Do you worry about about the prospect of mismanagement of funds?
I will not doubt that possibility of mismanagement of funds to the Commission, like it has been in other commissions. The Northeast Development Commission, the NDDC. The problem is always there. But this one is a government that is closer to us, that is our own. So if anybody we put at the helms of affairs there, mismanage the resources, I know what our people will do. And I believe that even
Doctor, what will they do?
What they will do, they will call him out for who he is. We are not scared of anybody. They will call him out for who he is and make sure that he does what they are expecting him to do from what has been allocated to the commission.
All right. You know, APC is the ruling party, and for a long time there has been this conversation about the transparency of the party leaders, commitment of party members to demarginalization of the region, unity of purpose among the Southeast governors. At what point will the region or the people experience a paradigm shift or total commitment to regional cohesion to surmount most of the challenges facing the Southeast? And how hopeful are you, especially with this development commission?
Well, like you said, the government at the center is APC. And in the Southeast, APC remains the most popular party, the most successful party. There are 5 states in the Southeast. 2 of them, Imo and Ebonyi, are governed by APC governors. And every other person in the zone always refer to the governments in Enugu, Abia, and Anambra as disappointing to the people. Every other person in the zone knows that the governor of Imo State and the governor of Ebonyi State are doing fantastic job. And to that extent, they are able to key into and being aspired to be like those other 2 states, which is what gives us hope as a party that will win more states. So, the leadership of the Southeast Governorship Forum is led by the governor of Imo State, when I call him our leader. And he's been able to galvanize all the other governors to believe in the ideals of the administration, in the ideals of the zone, what we can do. And that is why he's able to help us to identify with the government and say, don't go on protest. And everybody obeyed him, despite their political differences. Thank you.
That's good to hear. So let's talk about, we're gradually winding down. So let's talk about the lingering crisis in Enugu APC. I remember that in April, the former chairman of All Progressives Congress in Enugu State, Dr. Ben Uwoye, urged you in your capacity as the party's national vice chairman, Southeast, to wade into that crisis rocking the party because they see you as a father. So how far have you gone in resolving that crisis?
Well, across all the states in the Southeast, Enugu inclusive, we have been setting up a lot of reconciliatory mechanisms to reconcile all aggrieved members of our party. In Enugu State, we have tried to reach out and have meetings with aggrieved members who are not in support of the current chairman of the party. But then I have a deeper insight into what is happening in Enugu State. I was the Congress committee chairman in the ward, the local government, and the state Congress that produced anybody and everybody in Enugu State. And I know where the problem is. The problem is as deep as who became the leader of the party from the zone. Because when Shifima Enugu emerged as the leader of the party in the zone, he defeated somebody who is also from Enugu State, who believes that he should be the deputy national chairman. The problem started from there. The problem started from emergence of Chifu Ugochukwu Agbala as the chairman of the state. But he was the elected chairman of the state. So, we've had in Enugu State where people come to Abuja and pretend to be APC members, but in the states they work for the PDP government, and it is still going on.
Doctor, what they said
what is going on in Enugu?
Emergence of, kindly hold on, Doctor. What they said, what the aggrieved members are saying is that the emergence of Barrister Agbala did not follow due process and that it was imposed on them.
It did. I was the Congress committee chairman. It did. He followed due process. There was Congress. I was the chairman of the Congress, incidentally. He followed due process, but the problem is deeper than that.
But,
if they are thinking about removing the state chairman, they should follow due process. They did not. They never wrote to me that they want to remove the chairman. Some local government chairmen just sat down in one room and said that they have. Where has that happened before? The party has a constitution and laid down procedure on how party discipline should be. Chief Ugochukwu Agbala, I must say, is still one of the chairmen I have in the zone. So, I mean, those things date back. It is not all about Ugochukwu Agbala. It's about people who still want to keep sabotaging the party, acting as mole against the party. I was today with the former governorship candidate, Chifu Chennaji, who happens to be the Minister of Innovation, Science and Tech today. Wonderful gentleman, a lot of ideas. But these people are irreconcilable. But we are still doing our best to bring everybody together, because the symbol of our party is a hand holding a broom. And in Igbo land, it means unity. It means oneness. Because we believe that if a group is together, held together, they cannot be broken. But, you know, the action of some people.
It looks like we're going to bring you back in regards to this particular matter. But quickly, in trying to resolve...
No, the matter is a non-issue. It's a non-issue.
In trying to resolve bring me back. Dr. Kani, hold on.
It's a non-issue. Ugochukwu Agbala is the chairman of the party in the state.
Did you try to find out why the state chairman has suspended party chieftains, prominent members of the party in the states, like former Senate President Ken Namani, former Governor Sullivan Chime? These are some of the concerns of these aggrieved members. They say he's been autocratic and handling the party like his own personal business. Have you tried to find out or investigate?
Yes, that issue is being resolved. I've invited all of them. I've written personal letter to all of them. In the last zonal stakeholders meeting we held in Ebonyi State last month, I wrote a personal letter to Senator Ken Nnamani to attend. I wrote a personal letter to all those stakeholders. So I believe that with time, they will see reasons to work with the chairman. The chairman is the chairman.
What response did you get from them? What response did you get from these chieftains?
I think Senator Ken Nnamani sent some representative to the stakeholders meeting. I was informed.
All right, Doctor, we may bring you back for this particular matter, but thank you so much for joining us tonight. I've been speaking with Dr. Ijeoma Arogo. He's the zonal chairman, APC South East. Thank you so much for joining us on Politics Tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thank you for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at midnight. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night, everyone.